All right. Welcome to the first official show of Cocky Talk with myself, Marlon Anderson. I appreciate you joining me today. This is episode 15. And you know what? It's a tough episode. Well, you know it ain't that tough, man. You got to give teams credit for taking advantage of our poor play. And you know what? I want to go ahead and start today and give congrats to Kentucky and their players and their coaches and their fans. They were also very rowdy, for sure, and they did their part. Mark Stoops has built a strong program with strong recruiting, and he knows how to build a team physical enough to play within the SEC, and he knows how to get players. He's been pulling them players from Ohio. You know what I mean? He's getting those players that usually used to go to those other Big Ten schools, but he's brought them to Kentucky, and Kentucky has put more emphasis on their football. And you know what? I got to give them credit. Good job for them for winning 5 in a row. They played with physicality. They didn't beat themselves, unlike us, and they beat us. So you know what? Congrats to them. So you know what? But you know what? We might upset y'all in basketball too, just to piss y'all off. So, you know, we did it last year. We just got to get one. We just got to split one game with y'all just to piss y'all off because we don't supposed to be beating y'all anyway. But sometimes and somehow we upset y'all. And you know what? We might actually have a pretty good basketball team this year with some experience. And, you know, Frank Martin's going to have us playing good defense. But anyway, I'll talk about basketball later. But you know what? I'm not going to do any player bashing. I'm not going to, I'm very disappointed, of course, in the play and in the game that we had. But you know what? It could have been a lot worse, and we lost by 14. And that game was horrible. You know what I mean? How our players perform, self-inflicted wounds, penalties. But you know what? We're going to get into that a little bit right now. So, like I said, I'm not going to do any player bashing, but we lacked focus, especially on the offense, at our offensive skill positions, drop passes, you know what I mean? We got to get Shi Smith the ball more. He has been proven to be our best receiver and have the best hands, and he don't drop passes. So we got to play players who can catch the ball, man. Unfortunately, our top two guys, they have had an issue with drops. Shi Smith ain't never had no issue with drops, and I don't want to jinx him, but that dude can catch. So we need to throw the ball to him, and we need to include him in the offense more. So coaching staff, offensive coaches figure that out and realize that he should be one of our primary targets because he can catch the football. All right, so I'll leave it at that. All right, what else we gonna go in? Yeah, man, I hate it, man. I hate when we perform like this because we're no longer the Gamecocks. They call us the Shamecocks and the Lamecocks. I gotta see on social media of everybody making fun of my Gamecocks, and I can't really say anything because we were Shamecocks. We were Lamecocks. So what do you want me to say? I can't defend that game. You know what I mean? So, but Gamecock Nation is highly upset because, they deserve better than this. They don't want to see these sorry football performances. They want to see a team that shows up. When you play well, you get praise. When you play bad, you're going to get condemned. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. It's unavoidable in this college football climate. So, and the Gamecocks have played consistently bad in big games over these past couple of years. I know it takes time to build a program, and I still believe this coaching staff is a strong coaching staff with higher football IQ and strong recruiting ability. But you can't perform bad in these games, and it's not always a reflection on the players. It's the coaches because they look very unprepared, especially on the defensive side in the first half. So of that Kentucky game, they look very unprepared from all three levels of the defense. So they got to get these boys better somehow to be able to compete in these games. So what else we looking at here? Against ranked opponents, ETD has been very non-existent. ETD stands for, y'all, it's been what our team has been living by, has been our mantra: effort, toughness, and discipline. But there's been some effort, but there hasn't been too much toughness, and there definitely hasn't been any discipline. So ETD has been non-existent in these games, so we haven't been living up to that mantra. So the Gamecocks have not been disciplined or executed at all in big games. Against teams where we're playing ranked teams and playing against, quality opponents, the Gamecocks have not showed up yet. And you know what? Thank God I was blessed to attend the University of South Carolina from fall of 2010 to the summer of 2013, because I was able to see some of the most talented Gamecock teams ever. And these were just talented football teams, period, in college football. A lot of NFL talent on that team, and I was able to see it firsthand. So, hey, man, I was part of history because I was at all those games. I wasn't going to Gamecock games consistently, living in Anderson. So basically, I grew up in Clemson country. So, you know what I mean? I was able to see that. So I'm happy I was able to experience that. And you know what? It took time for Spurrier to get there. It took him about 5 years. Think about it. He came in 2005, but you can't take the first season. But the Gamecocks, played well in the first season, brought some good memories. They beat Florida, you remember, in 2005. But I also remember in 2008, because I remember in that 2007 recruiting class by rivals, we had the 6th ranked best recruiting class, stacked. But that came into fruition later on down the line. But of course, you think, 2008, we got all these blue chip guys, man, and we still got these other players that are on our roster who are pretty good, that we think going to get better. So I thought it was going to come together. But in 2008, it didn't come together. 2008 was a rough year. 2009 was another rough year. So we didn't really get to see it until 2010. So that's year 5 in the Spurrier era. So it takes time, man. It takes time. So we got to be patient. But then again, that doesn't excuse the poor play that these Gamecocks have against Kentucky. Sorry. I had been sipping a little bit, so. But let me go ahead and proceed. Now, backlash is unavoidable. When in college football, in these type of situations, there's only so much you want to hear in the post game. We got to play better, or we got to coach better. You don't want to hear that, because you heard it before. This is like the 5th time we have heard this, because in every big game, the Gamecocks have not showed up. I've seen other Gamecock teams with similar talent that on the team that we have compete better against top competition. So they got to find a way to be able to compete in these games. And the coaching staff, it's all on the coaching staff of how they're going to get these guys prepared better to compete 4 quarters in this game and not have so many self-inflicted mistakes and so much inconsistency. But you know what? The offensive coaches can't make the receivers catch the ball, and fumbling the ball in your own territory deep inside the 10-yard line. I mean, that's not the coach's fault. But there is some things, it's just a team as a whole, from coaches to players. They just got to find a way to perform better and prepare better in just whatever methods they're using. You got to find something different that's going to be more, helpful towards your success. So I'll leave it at that. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you this, because I was upset. But you know what? I was in beautiful uptown Charlotte with some friends that I went to school with, and you know what? I honestly, I only watched the first half because I was like, I'm not about to let this game ruin my night. I'm not about to let this terrible ass game ruin my night, because uptown Charlotte is beautiful. It's nice. So I'm gonna we went to another bar, and I was still glimpsing at the game because it was still on in the TVs. I think because the bar we went to first was a very Gamecock-centric bar. It was Flight, and it was super packed. Took me about 30 minutes. No, yeah, it took me about 30 minutes to get a drink, and I'm standing right at the bar. Like, this place is crazy packed. It's ridiculously packed. But we left that bar and went to another arcade bar that was right next to it, and I had fun there. So I enjoyed my night. I ain't let the Gamecocks ruin my night. I'm not going to. You know what I mean? But you know what? I want to be rooting for them against Missouri. And I have faith that they can somehow be a desperate football team and find a way to pull out a win against Missouri. So that's the type of fan I am. I'm just going to be optimistic, but I'm going to tell it how it is. They got to do better. But I'm just going to give my assessment on the game after watching a half of football. And no, I didn't go back and watch the rest of the game. There was no point. Well, I did see some in the second half because it was on the TV in the other bar that I was in. But this is my assessment. The linebackers were bad as a unit. We missed Sky Moore dearly. That's it on the linebackers. Our defensive secondary are either too small, or either not physical enough, or either they are not mentally there yet to be able to know where to be to able to make a play. We definitely miss Lamons, and I even miss DJ Smith. So that's my assessment on the secondary. Our running backs look good sometimes. They're not so good. Fumbling, can't do that. I think our offensive staff needs to do a better job of using their personnel. You can't just put a running back in there. You got to understand now that A.J. Turner is more of a receiving back. You don't want to really run him in between the tackles like that. You need to get a bigger guy in there who can run downhill and be able to pick up more yards, somebody who has more size to be able to run in between the tackles. So the offensive staff needs to know how to use their personnel better. And that also goes back to Shi Smith and utilizing him more, because obviously he catches the ball better than every other receiver. So obviously you need to figure out a way to get him the ball. Figure it out. All right, so what else we got here? Shoot, I talked about the running backs. And be honest with you, until I see it, I highly doubt that Jake Bentley's going to play well against a top or, a solid to top, tier team. A team with good talent to very, very great talent. You know what I mean? It's like Kentucky is a very good talented team, and then like a Georgia's a very highly talented team alone. Also with Clemson on our schedule, I just don't believe that he can compete against those teams like that. I think he has too much energy. I think he's too nervous. I mean, he just doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look like a gamer in those situations. And until I see it, I don't believe that he's going to be able to play against and win against one of these top tier teams or ranked teams when we're playing these big games or even on the road. He just hasn't done it yet, so I don't believe that he can. So until that happens, the jury's out on that. So, and I believe a lot of people in the fan base are losing hope as well. And, it is just what it is. It's what Muschamp says. I know that, I hope that he can do it. I would be happy. I would be happy and love to see him be able to put together a great performance against, a ranked team or a very solid team, but he hasn't done it. He's played like crap in those games. Can't win like that. So, what do you want me to say? Of course, the fan base is going to be mad at that play because you don't play good against the teams that we really want to compete against. We don't even have a chance to play. We don't even have a chance to win those games because of poor quarterback play. So it is what it is. All right. And in the offensive line, you know what? They played well enough. So, and you know what? The punting was good. Joseph Charlton, good job. I appreciate you being consistent at your craft. All right. So, and we just don't have enough physicality and size on the D-line yet as a unit. We're really missing the guys from last year. Those three tackles that we lost, they really did a good job as far as holding the point of holding the point of contact, holding the point of contact at the line of scrimmage, and we just don't have enough depth there right now. But still, a lot of times it comes to gap responsibility, and it's just poor execution on the defensive part, and the secondary players being out of position, the linebackers being out of position, and the defensive line being out of position. So that goes back to coaching as well. So they need to coach better as far as getting those guys better to be more prepared to be able to play a four-quarter game. But they played better in the second half, and they held Kentucky to 24 points by not giving up any points in the second half, and that should have been enough points for the Gamecocks to be able to possibly, win that game. But there's too many poor plays on the Gamecocks' behalf that stopped them. So, you're talking about turnovers, penalties. It's just poor quarterback play. You just can't win like that. So, and this podcast is about to come to a close. So let me go ahead and give my assessment on what I think about our game against Missouri. Missouri didn't play a game last week. They had a bye. So their last game was a loss to Georgia, in which they played okay. Well, you know what? They didn't really play okay. But Georgia didn't play okay, didn't play that well either. And Georgia came away with a 14-point victory. Georgia has some big-time special teams play. But Missouri, they got a good quarterback. They got Drew Lock. He's been starting since he was a freshman. He came in his middle of his freshman year. I think his first start was against us in 2015 when he was a true freshman, when they beat us by 2 touchdowns in Missouri during our 3-9 year when we lost to the Citadel. So we're a lot better than where we were. But of course, Gamecock fans, man, they wanted to see their Gamecocks play better, and I get that. So, it was very poor tackling in the Kentucky game, UGA and Kentucky game, both poor performances in tackling. And I think Georgia's a little different. I think they got gassed. But against Kentucky, it was just a really bad performance. So it's hard to win when you turn the ball over 4 times. You're not going to beat a lot of teams like that, period. No matter if that team's highly ranked or just a middle of the road team, you're going to put yourself in very, very bad position, and a very difficult position to win any ball games. But my analysis on Missouri is that quarterback Drew Lock for them is a very good quarterback who will be playing on Sundays. I wouldn't be surprised if they lit us up. I wouldn't be surprised if we played desperate and lit the Missouri Tigers up. So that's how I leave that at. I don't have no analysis as far as, the keys to the game, because I'm not going to waste my time to give that, because I want to see how South Carolina plays straight up. So, like I said, my analysis is I'm not sure how the Gamecocks are going to play. But I wouldn't be surprised if they blew Missouri out. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew Lock lit us up. So I leave it at that. Still support the Gamecocks. Come out to the game in Willie B this noon on Saturday to see us take on the Missouri Tigers, and hopefully we can get to 3-2 on the season, and hopefully we can right the ship to have a better season. All right, this is Marlon Anderson, and this is Cocky Talk, signing off. Peace out.